So yeah, interesting timing that I'm on episode number 7, both sides of the barricade. I worked with a band for 1 year exactly to the day. I kind of set it up that way. I told them I had planned to go back to college. Hang on one second. Gotta get my notes. I told them I'd planned to go back to college, and I got admitted to Columbia, which is a stupid story. I thought I was going to take out 80 grand and finish my bachelor's, and then I realized at the end, you know, no thanks, not interested. I can do whatever I want, and not have that 80 grand over my head for just one specialty. So I could learn more with less money, basically with the internet. So I chose uh, not to continue with the band because we had agreed on a 1 year thing. And the cool thing was for me now, I guess I should have been honest with them from the front that I was getting ready to get out of tour managing. I've been doing it almost 15 years now. This is now 2000, where are we at? 13, somewhere in there. So, um, yeah, I never thought that I would be working with a band that I absolutely listened to on a regular basis during middle school and high school. Growing up in the South and playing R&B and playing, gospel church and just hip hop. I mean, this is one of those bands that I was like, dang, I want to be down with this band. Like, this is the band. This band is lit. And that band is Mint Condition. I used to, sing Pretty Brown Eyes in junior high. It was pretty funny because had this girlfriend at the time who I don't think she had brown eyes, but I was just singing the song to her because it was just a great song. So, um, yeah, Mint Condition. It was interesting how that came together. Again, another travel agent, a different travel agent this time, worked with the band, and their tour manager slash manager had expressed that he was looking for a new tour manager. She told me, I was like, who? Are you kidding me? And again, I did tell them I was getting ready to go back to school, so they did have an inclination that I was on the way out of tour management, but still doing it. Excuse me. And a long list of credits, Angie Stone by this time, Ryan McKnight, Paper Tongue, blah, blah, blah. They've seen the resume. They know that I've been working in the industry for 12, 13, 14 years now. And I was coming up on that 15-year turn where I knew I wanted to do something different. I wanted to go back to school again. I mean, this is now my third time attempting to finish my degree. So instead, I told you I didn't, and I decided to do other things. But this travel agent that got me the tour management gig with Mint is a friend travel agent in Florida. She's no longer working in the agency, but we knew one another. When I was in Orlando, there were times we'd go out, catch up on a drink. She'd hear stories from the road because she would handle the travel debacles or the flight screw ups, and that just kind of linked into what I was dealing with. So it's easy water cooler talk for what the industry of touring were to talk about. Um, but yeah, man, some of the coolest times with men, I tell you, was not only getting to sing and hear those songs every night, so fine, swinging. Like, come on, guys, it's jams in my mind. I don't know what you consider hits, but those are hits. Um, and when they do them at the show, it's like, where am I? I'm somewhere listening. Settlement, all that, all the other work can wait. Because during the show, I watch the show. I'm very much roaming in the audience, side stage, near the mix, front of house, near the monitors. I mean, and you always want to be ready too, because anything can go off and someone may need a hand or need something. I mean, you know, quick off side note, I was in Charleston, South Carolina, the beginning of this year, January, and I went to see Dave, and I was side stage, and someone in the audience had yelled, "Hey, I have this CD or DVD. Will you sign it?" Kind of puts him on the spot, but I was like, "Well, he's going to need a Sharpie to sign it." So literally, I went and grabbed a Sharpie, and I had it. And then when that guy kept pestering, Dave's like, "All right, I'll sign it." And then he looks to the side for somebody, and bam! Before he can basically even ask me, I'm holding the Sharpie. That's because I'm watching the show. I'm always watching the show. Back to Mint. I mean, I got to see them actually the same year that I was with Paper Tongues at Milwaukee Summerfest. So were Mint. They were playing a stage down from us. They were playing at night. And just, I mean, the energy they put off on stage, Ricky especially. I mean, you're always wondering how many twirls is he going to do, and where's Stokely's solos coming in, because there's 2 drum sets on stage. So it's a roller coaster ride. It's anticipation for sure. It's one of those shows that you got to see. They carry lights. I mean, bands know that lights can make a huge difference, especially if the lighting director is very rhythmic and can match songs with certain, movements. And it's really cool that, Stokely being a drummer turned lead singer, it's cool to get to work with one of those acts. They're few and far between, but when they do it, we always pretty much hear about them. Teddy Pendergrass, Phil Collins, Dave Grohl, Steven Tyler, Don Henley, Karen Carpenter. I mean, the drummer turned singer world is full. I mean, Levon Helm led the band from the drums. It's a neat parallel. It's a neat sync between those two upstage, downstage acts. Drummer turned singers, that parallel, that sync, that connection, something about leading the crowd. The drummer solid has to get people to dance, has to keep people locked in step. Those biorhythms have to link. And then the lead singer basically setting the tone and the flow of what goes on. I mean, it's a cohesive thing with the band, but there's that one, front person. What I was going to say about the theater aspect is you got downstage and upstage. Downstage would be where the lead singer is. Upstage would be where the drums is. There's a term, if you upstage somebody, you're really downstaging them, trying to get the attention. You see what I'm saying? Anyhow, conundrum number 1. That drummer-singer connection really is special, and getting to work with a band that had that, and seeing Stokely still get back on the drums every night and lead. I mean, it was something else. Some cool times. One, we were on the bill with Morris Day and the Time and the Isley Brothers, or a branch or version of the Isley Brothers. And that was cool. It was my first, maybe second time seeing Morris Day. I think I saw with Angie. I mean, some of the ones, Angie did shows with Frankie Beverly and Maze. If you've never seen a Frankie Beverly show, please, go watch one. Shout out to Frankie and his crew. I'm telling you, man, getting to work with some of these acts, and the acts that you're on the bill with is the most special part about it. And the fact that, I wasn't playing, I was working with a certain band, but getting to see other bands and getting to, look at their show, watch their show, listen to their show, see how they interact, listen to their hits, see how they arrange it. Everything that goes into that, as a music head, I'm just drawn to. I never, ever really voiced my opinion or talked about those things out there. Everyone is under the impression I'm a tour manager, do a tour manager's job. Do not intermingle your musical understanding, and so I just laid back. I let my ears and my gut feel what was going on with the show, with real time, with which bands and which songs and what and where, medleys, of hits, or do they play their whole hit? You know, do they let the audience sing, or do they change it up? Is there melody? Is there shift? What do they do? I mean, every band's got their own way to play a show, and every band arranges a show differently. As a musical producer, my goal is to help them arrange shows just like you arrange albums, songs. I mean, you want this roller coaster, and you want to be able to capitalize on the show at that moment, at the live moment, more than any other moment. I mean, the record is there. So if the audience knows the record, play the record. Man, getting to play with bands that have hits, and you think about how hits are worked into shows and how it all connects, is the funnest, hidden, because I kept it in myself, part of working 15 years with musicians in live shows, is just getting to learn, really, and soak it all in, and let your ear and your gut kind of tell you where to go and what's happening. There was a time I went to Bermuda with Mint, and this would be the second time I've been to Bermuda. One, I was there with Angie Stone for the Jazz Festival. This time, many years later, I'm with Mint Condition, probably 10 years later, close to with Mint Condition. Both times I had lady friends with me. Both times it's one of those moments, you're in Bermuda, you gotta take somebody, you gotta take, you know, that significant other, that special person that you're with, or your chick or whoever it is, you know. When you go to some place like that, a destination like Bermuda, and I did a few other islands with Angie. They weren't the right times to take people. Both times I went to Bermuda just seemed like perfect. I stayed in the Fairmont. Both times, different Fairmonts on Bermuda. So I've covered them both. Had the Rockfish last time I was there, the last time being with Mint. I highly recommend it. Find some. And there was a time where we did a show with Brian and I want to say Angie. Like it was a weird bill because Mint was on the bill, festival style bill, with two artists that I had previously worked with. There was a few times he did a show with Brian. They did a show with Brian, direct support. I remember Detroit, day or 2 days after Thanksgiving one year. 2013 probably was a year, or 12, 13. Anyhow, so yeah, getting to see acts that you used to work with, and they've seen you, you know, keep working and keep being, you know, steady with what you do and keep being, as Kyle Hamilton would say, consistent. Keep it consistent. And that was it, man. Just getting to play shows with other acts that I had already worked with was, you know, I don't really know how to, you know, you're not going to stay with these people forever. But when you see them again and you're still doing what you're doing, they're still doing what they're doing, there's like a mutual respect. You come back and you're just like, well, yeah, you keep doing your thing, you keep doing your thing. And that's really what it's all about. And transitioning from, you know, getting out of music, Mint Condition being the last quote-unquote tour management music gig for me, was, you know, at the end, I'm just ready to keep it going and do what I'm supposed to do in music. And that wasn't go back to school. It was, you know, start using these again for the reasons that will turn music into many different forms, because I've taken on music as an audience member, but a musician. You know, I had this, hold on. I had that record right there, right? At 22, playing drums, 22 years old. So to go on the road after that and to use these and use this was very important for my musical journey, where I am now producing, making my own music, and, hopefully working with some of these acts and bands that I used to tour manage. Maybe not, maybe not, but at least turning all that knowledge into something different. I went on after Mint Condition to work with a band out of Nashville. Really a lot of pro bono, basically. I mean, using my ear, using my understanding of the business, kind of help guide them, help pick singles, and then go on the road. And I was actually mixing. I was mixing front of house with that band. So we'll save that till the next one. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. This has been Both Sides of the Barricade, audience and the stage. Peace.